Kate, welcome to the show. Excited to talk about all things LinkedIn.
Thank you. I love talking about LinkedIn, so you won't be able to shut me up.
Okay. Oh, I can't wait. All right. First and foremost, I talked about you a little bit in the intro and I did your bio up and things like that, but why go all in on LinkedIn?
Well, there's people with money on LinkedIn for a start. So
Yes.
for your audience who are course creators and you're looking to fill your course and you need that pipeline of people constantly coming through, then LinkedIn is a great place to build that pipeline. What I love about LinkedIn that I don't see on other platforms as much is the chance to really search for your ideal audience. So if you're a dog trainer, you're looking for dog owners. I mean, that's not the best example. But if you're looking for lawyers, you can find people by job title. You can
Hmm.
look for personal trainers. You can find people. And even with the dog trainer example, you can think, well, who are the kinds of people who own dogs? And maybe look at some groups and things like that. And who else would they be following? And there's a lot of people on LinkedIn who aren't sharing content. So just to share a small amount of content, you're really standing out from the crowd.
Yeah, I
So
love that.
yes,
And I was seeing on one of your posts that is this true? 13 to 18 minutes per the daily user stays on LinkedIn, or did I get that right, Kate?
it's not daily, it's monthly.
Oh, monthly. My bad. That's well,
Yeah.
okay. But meaning I
So
think your point was post more often in terms of, is that right?
yes, yes, which no one wants to hear, right? Because we're all too busy and the last thing like is more content. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But
What's the perfect amount, or I know there's no perfect amount, but what do you suggest in
yes,
terms of how often we should be posting on LinkedIn?
I think you post more often than you want to be posting for a start. So if you think once a week is good, then try and do twice a week.
Yeah, just
Unfortunately,
augment. Yeah.
yeah, uh, unfortunately, the more you post, the more chances you'll get those people in that brief time that they are on LinkedIn. And if you're just posting once a week, say, and yeah, as we know, people aren't on LinkedIn very much. Obviously, that varies greatly, and there is a huge amount of people who are on LinkedIn way more often than 13 minutes a month. The more you post, the more chances you get of them seeing your stuff.
Okay.
So the other thing is to have a good strategy and just recycle stuff. I don't like repurposing because that's too much hard work. But what I do is literally take something that I posted 6 months ago and post it again.
Really?
So the video that Gina and I were talking about before we started recording, Gina was saying she liked one of my videos. That is an old video.
Ah, I had no idea.
And you can tell because I had a fringe then and now I've grown my fringe out. So some of my videos are old, and that's what I love about LinkedIn. You can just post something again. If you're posting good stuff, which you are, then just post it again.
Okay, so
Your audience
hold,
won't
wait, are you doing
notice.
different copy or you literally, no, I'm like, I want to use this strategy. So are you
Well,
using the same copy, like just
yeah,
rinse and repeat?
yeah. I
Oh my
call
God.
it lazy LinkedIn because we're all too busy, right?
Yeah.
So if this is all you can do, what I find is firstly, your audience don't notice if you leave a decent amount of time in between posts, or your audience didn't see it last time, or you've got
Hmm.
a new audience who just weren't on LinkedIn at that time when you posted it. Or it's good stuff, so they're quite happy to watch it again. I still watch reruns of Friends, even though I've seen the episode before, because I
Right.
enjoy it. So if you're posting good stuff and you've gone to the effort of creating something useful, then just whip it out there again. I do it all the time.
I love
And
it.
that makes
Lazy LinkedIn.
that makes the challenge of posting frequently on LinkedIn much easier because you do not have to come up with content every day. So you can hit your target of say 3 times a week, for example, because you're just posting something fresh and then something from 3 months ago, and you alternate what you're doing. And the other good thing about LinkedIn, talking about content, is short and snappy is
Hmm.
for the win. So you can write something the post that I've just written that I'm going to share later today is just like, this is what you need to do. Let me know if you need help. That's it. Like, it's about 4 lines.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
really works on LinkedIn because we're all scrolling. I read an essay, I'll watch a 20-minute live. I see some of my friends on LinkedIn posting lives and I see the time and I love them. And I think I would love to watch this. I'll definitely watch this later. Do I ever watch it later? No.
No.
So
Gosh,
you
no.
can put a short post. Another post I've scheduled that I'll post later on, a few days from now, is a question a client asked me. Question asked, I got asked, here's what I said. Again, it's a super short post. So that can be something, if you're willing to not overthink yourself and not spend hours and hours making it perfect, if you're willing to sacrifice that perfectionism and just put something out there, then you really can be successful, gain a following, and still be lazy. Isn't that the
Okay.
goal?
I freaking love this. Let me unpack this a little bit because I'm the person who like overthink. Like I saw the video you did about mantra. You didn't say it that way. You said it in a cooler way. But you said, "What's your one
Oh,
mantra?" Is that right? Did I say right? What did you? So you said, "What is that one mantra that you
can't
use?"
remember.
And it was like a really short clip, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have so many mantras, I could do this, da, 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 right? And it was just this quick tidbit,
Yeah.
and to me I'd be like, oh, I need 3 steps to this because it needs to be this like full thing. But I just love the brevity of your posts and how quick they are, so we need to get on board because that's way easier. And so maybe instead of three
Easier.
steps I could break that into 3 different videos, right? And by
Yeah.
the way, videos versus photos versus like what do we get rewarded for on LinkedIn?
I have firm opinions. I'm a huge fan of video on LinkedIn because a lot of people are frightened to do video. So if you can just be 10% braver than everyone else, you can really stand out. So I think that's an opportunity to be a little bit disruptive on LinkedIn because I don't see a lot of video.
Okay.
So I, again, short, brief, like my videos are usually 1 to 2 minutes, just
Mm-hmm.
saying, hey, are you worried about this? Here's what I think, da 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 da, the
Yeah.
end. Because
And
again,
they and
people
you
are
get
scrolling
results. I
and they
see the
don't.
traffic you're getting. I see the likes and
Yeah,
you're getting
yeah.
clicks. Um,
And people get to know, they feel like they know you on video. If you're wanting
yes.
any kind of personal brand, and if you're in any kind of space where you're asking people to trust you, if you're a divorce coach, if you're a nutritionist and you're asking people to open up, be personal with their finances, with their love life, with anything like that, they really need to feel like they trust you. If you're in any kind of personal business where you're really helping people with deep and juicy things, they do need to feel that connection to you. It's just human nature. So video can really help with that. Reach on video and impact on video is less than a written post, but the purpose is more bottom of funnel. Like the people who are following you, and then they say, I see how you talk. I feel like we're friends because you're in my videos, I always speak to, if you want to do this, and I talk to the camera and I talk the way I naturally talk. So when people work with me, they already know what I'm and like me. Well, the people who might watch my videos and think she's an idiot, and that's fine. They never work with me, so that's fine. So it really just attracts the people who like your vibe and feel like you're a friend, giving them helpful advice, and that is so powerful. If you're not a chicken, if you're not a scaredy cat.
Well, I love how you use humor. Like you just posted a picture of like your cat was on your keyboard and it was
Yeah.
funny. It was cute. And again, I think that's brave. Like I feel like I like to think I'm funny sometimes.
Yeah,
Um
you are.
but then I'm not brave enough like to post something of Churro, my dog, right? Like I thought and
Mm,
people like that. Right, Kate? Like that's
mm.
personable, right? That's letting you into their lives and it's just
Yeah,
like a quick hit.
yeah. And keeping having that frequency in mind every so often, like how easy is that for me to post a picture of my cat sleeping
So
on my
easy.
keyboard? Like, I can't work today, haha. You don't want to go too overboard with that because you want to be seen as an expert, you want to be sharing helpful stuff, like it's not your personal diary. But the occasional post like that, people get to know you. And in this world of AI generated content,
Yeah.
every second post is like, in this digital age, da, 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 that's clearly written by ChatGPT. It's really important to show up as your weird, oh, I say your weird good self. Like what the bullies in high school teased you about is what you should be celebrating about yourself.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to feel cheated. We don't want to feel like I've read this article and it's written by AI. You feel a bit duped. So you want to show that personality, show yourself as a real human being so that
Yeah.
people feel a connection with you.
Okay, this is great because I was going to ask you about some mistakes that you commonly see on LinkedIn. So I think like that stiff kind of writing, like the
Mm,
AI driven writing, is probably one big mistake that you're seeing. What else are
mhm.
you seeing the faux pas on LinkedIn right now?
You think not not using LinkedIn to its full capacity. I think one of the mistakes is not curating your audience. So I was talking with a client yesterday and she said, "Oh, they're all people who want to work with me that follow me." Like she's in the digital space and she's got all these overseas digital strategists who are following her and wanting to her offshore to them. So her audience isn't full of her ideal clients because she hasn't proactively gone out and built an audience. So
Mm.
I'm a big fan of sending requests strategically to the people that you would love to work with. That's what I did. I've got 9,000 followers now, but in the first 3 years, really, a lot of them are people that I went and found and sent connection requests to.
Okay. Based
So,
on, sorry, you broke up a little bit, Kate. You reached out to people that you knew were part of the criteria of a great prospective client for you. Is that right? Okay.
yes, exactly. So I curated my profile to be attractive to those people, and then when they look at my profile, it's appealing to them.
Okay. I loved, this is great because I think there's an art and a science to this because I've talked on this podcast before that I get pinged a lot. I get DM'd a lot. Not a lot. I'm not that fancy, but fancy enough that I get DM'd occasionally on LinkedIn and people offering their services. Like I got one yesterday, last night, about my podcast. And if you want to do your podcast in a super professional way, like, hello, I'm doing it a professional way. Like I was kind of caught off guard by that. Like that's not a great way to
Consulting.
sell me. Um, so I feel like people don't do that right, Kate. Like, what's the right way to do that? Because either they don't do the research or it's like a hard sell up front and
Mm,
I deny the request.
yes.
What's the right way to do it?
In my view, the right way to do it is to not do it and build an audience who follow and come to you. However, I used to be completely against it. Now I would say if you are going to do it, don't just spam everyone. Like really, again, target people. Listen to the podcast before you DM someone
Right.
saying the podcast needs better production values and prove it. So
Yeah.
I would say, and then some LinkedIn coaches say, oh, like build a connection first and then hit them up. I think that's worse. Like, they go, how are you going? How are you? And I go, yeah, good. And then they go, what have you been up to? And I'm like, working. Then they say, do you have any problems? And I'm like, I'm not telling you my problems. Like, and they're hoping and praying that you are going to say, yes, my problem is X, Y, Z. And that all of a sudden they're going to be, oh, well, that's what I do. Like, that is just a huge waste of time, especially for those small business owners that I work with. So
Yeah.
what I would say is if you really have someone that you want to hit up, and just say, hey, I'm going to shoot my shot, but you send it to them and them alone. And you make it clear that this is not a message that has been sent to 10 others or 20 others or 1,000 others. Like we've all got that, hey, do you want 15 new appointments a week? And I'm an appointment setter and I'm going to get you, I
Right.
don't want 15 appointments a week.
I know. What would I
Mum,
do with that? That's a lot. But
I'm
if
too busy.
if they wrote me a note that was like, I listened to your posted exercise. I loved how you broke down
Mm,
X, Y, like just even a little
yeah.
tidbit. Listen to an
Mm,
episode, right? Take an
yeah.
interest.
Yeah. So 90% of the time, I would say the best thing you can do is put excellent content on your post that goes to everybody, not just one person.
Mm-hmm.
And then in your post, just say, hey, PS, I help people with this. Send me a DM if you need help, and let them come to you when they're ready. Some
Yeah.
people DM me after following me for 2 weeks, and some people DM me after following me for 2 years. And
Yeah,
that
that's
is none of
great.
my business. It's just when they're ready.
When they're
And
ready.
then they
Yeah.
feel trusted. You're not spamming people saying, hey, do you want to buy this? Like, I think that's a bit desperate.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
does
I love
depend
it.
culturally. In different cultures, it can be a little bit more acceptable. Like in Australia, it's not really very acceptable at all. But I think in other countries where, you can be a bit more bold and salesy, potentially there could be opportunities to do that. But do it well, do it better than everyone else does. And just, I would rather someone say, hey, I really love you. I'm going to shoot my shot. You're my dream client, and this is why. Flatter them and say, I'm not going to bother you again, but I just want you to know I exist, or something really genuine and heartfelt. I would love that. I had that once from a photographer. She just said, I would love to work with you. I'd love to be your photographer. This is why I've been following you, etc. That was a good pitch.
That's great. Yeah. I,
Yeah.
I love that. So I'm curious, Kate, because I did my research before the show. You have other social profiles, right? They're not as built out as LinkedIn,
They're
right?
terrible. They're terrible.
But why do you have them is my question. Like, so why, like, you do have an Instagram, you do have,
I do.
what's the strategy behind that?
Oh, there is no strategy, Gina. My leads from LinkedIn. But I do have a goal. So please, listeners, don't look at my Instagram. It's dire. Um, I
We
feel
won't link to
like
it.
it, people really want to search for it, they can find it and have a laugh. So I can't recommend any strategies that I do, because I don't. But I feel like there is an audience in my space. I'd love to work with people who are very new to LinkedIn and they're not necessarily on LinkedIn. So I feel I
Mm,
have an opportunity to find them on Instagram, but I haven't pursued that channel yet.
yeah,
Next
which
year.
is fine. I say like, hey, double down. Like if you're gonna do LinkedIn, be the best at LinkedIn,
Yeah.
right? And
I
then
I work alone. I don't have a designer. I don't have a team. I have a VA. So I don't, and I have 3 daughters, so I'm mum taxi a lot of the time. So I have to be very strategic about what my put my time and energy into.
I love that. I love that. What's
There's a lot of
we've
it about laziness. There's a lot of my comments are all about just do as little as possible.
no, I think we need to figure that out though and figure out where to focus because a lot of times I get clients and students that are like, I'm trying to do a million things and none of them really move the
Um,
needle. Like I'd rather they spend
exactly.
serious time on LinkedIn, right? And figure out what's working for them. So, okay,
Mm.
tell us what should we really be focusing on? So like don't worry about newsletters, don't worry about groups. Like if we're just posting, like what's the one strategy like we should take away from this, Kate?
I would say at the very least, make your profile very strong,
Okay.
so that if anyone lands on you, that your profile is up to date, appealing, strong messaging that can ideally get people off LinkedIn and straight onto your lead magnet, onto your list, checking out your course. Because if someone's maybe heard of you and Googles your name, your LinkedIn profile is very often what appears first.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's a real missed opportunity for people who have got their old LinkedIn profile that they wrote a few years ago that's written like a resume, and turn that into writing it like a sales page. And I would say to people, look at my LinkedIn and copy it, basically. Like have some really strong messaging on there and have it really accurate as to what you are doing now, and promote that course that you have created, and tell people how to learn about it. And at least then it can sit there. If nothing else, then that can be a good source of traffic for anybody. And it's a set and forget strategy that you can do that and then just leave it, which is great.
That's awesome. Okay, done. Optimize your profile, mention your course, mention whatever you're selling. I love it, Kate. Okay, we'll link to obviously your profile because we're going to model ours after it, as well as where can we learn more about you? What other places should we go to check you out?
Yes, so I have a website, katemerriweather.com.au, so you can check out my LinkedIn services there. Be great. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for popping by. I'm gonna go work on my LinkedIn, and we've been
Yeah,
posting. I know we need to post more, so this is great. Like sometimes I bring guests on. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a little something for me too. So thanks for coming by, Kate.
absolutely. My pleasure. I love talking about LinkedIn.